Genesis family. This week's word of encouragement is Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 through 28, where Jesus says, "Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash." Foundations are critical. A foundation has to support everything put on it, and it has to withstand anything that pushes against it. A good foundation provides security for building up and for those who enter in. A bad foundation puts everything in it, on it, and around it at risk. This is why foundations must pass inspection in new home builds, and why older homes should have their foundations inspected regularly. Because some foundations can be repaired if it's caught early or if it's not too bad. But if it's too late or if it's too bad, the only solution is demolition before nature does it for you. Jesus uses the illustration of foundation as his concluding statement in his Sermon on the Mount. He talks about two builders, a wise one who builds on rock and a foolish one who builds on sand. And the difference between the two is what they do with the revelation that he is giving them. Those who build on the rock are obedient. They're responsive to the truth that he has shared. Those who build on the sand are those who disregard or disobey the revelation that he has given. It makes sense that he would use rock and sand. Rock is a solid, sturdy thing. It is not easily moved. It's not blown by the wind, and it is not dissolved with the water. But sand is easily blown by wind, and it is very malleable and reshaping whenever it gets wet. So Jesus uses these two illustrations as examples for what we will be and how we build our life. Note, everybody is building life. Every one of us give attention to the things that build and shape our lives. And the question is what we're building on. Will it survive and endure the challenges that life brings? Notice with me that Jesus uses this illustration as two different foundations that experience the exact same elements. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against both of them. But one came crashing down eventually, but the other stood strong and endured through it all. Jesus was constantly equipping his disciples to have a solid faith in him that would endure the challenges, the immediate challenges of the cross and the long-term challenges of a life of obedience and faithfulness. I'll be beginning a new series this Sunday called Foundations for Faith, where we will explore the things that Jesus wants us to know and believe in so that we can have a good foundation for building spiritual life. The confession that Jesus is God's Son, the truth that all people are created in the image of God, the reality that all creation testifies of God's glory and shows us our worth, that we are part of a church that is a multi-ethnic family that breaks down barriers, that we are filled with the Spirit that sanctifies us and makes us holy, that we have a message of love of neighbor, and love of enemy, and that love of enemy is the distinguishing characteristic of the followers of Christ, and that God's character can always be trusted, and that God's story is good news for all who hear it. Included in this series is the unveiling of wall art in our sanctuary that illustrates each of these, and we'll do it each week, one new thing that you'll see every time you enter the sanctuary. We will rest the future of our church upon these solid foundations. I'm so excited to share this series with you, and it comes in the midst of our 10-year anniversary, which is unofficially in May of this year. We began unofficially as Journey to Genesis in the first Sunday of May in 2014, and it has been an astounding decade of ministry here at Genesis Church. We will have some celebration times along the way throughout the month of May, and this series will recast and re-examine the foundations of spiritual life so that we can have a ministry corporately and our individual spiritual lives can have what they need to endure the tests and challenges and struggles that are inevitably in our future. So I hope that you'll join us for this series, Foundations for Faith. Every Sunday for the next 2 months, we'll be exploring these. We also have some exciting opportunities coming up that I want to let you know about. First, coming up Sunday, April 28th, is Next Gen Sunday. This is an opportunity for our kids, our students, our littles, all of them to take the leadership in our worship service. You'll see them greeting and doing processions and helping with singing and offering prayer and doing communion. We're so excited to have our next generation leading the way on April 28th. And then on May 4th, I want to let you know about the Point One Recovery Run. This is our second annual opportunity to showcase our Micah Hope Ministry Addiction Recovery Program. It's an opportunity for you to apply or to register for $20 and come out and support the cause of helping people who are bound in addictions to find freedom in Christ. So I hope that you'll join us for that on May the 4th. There's exciting things happening at Genesis Church. It's an exciting church to be a part of. I hope to see you Sunday.